Natasha Romanoff suits up for Endgame. Here's your look at the new Beast Kingdom. This is the Egg Attack Action, Avengers Endgame Black Widow. The product code for Black Widow is EAA-082. She features 22 points of articulation, 2 interchangeable faces, 2 electric-style batons, and an exclusive action figure stand. To get this review started, the first thing we're going to do, as we always do, is figure out how tall, in this case, how tall the Egg Attack Action Avengers Endgame Natasha Romanoff, or Black Widow, stands. Taking the tape measure to the very top of what I believe was her head. According to the readout, we're looking at the figure standing 6.3 inches in height. In centimeters, that works out to be a very nice 16.1 centimeters tall. A shout out thank you to the folks over at Beast Kingdom who were nice enough to send this sample my way. You should start seeing these cycling their way through the local comic book stores you probably are going to on a regular basis. If you are looking to pick up this one for yourself, what you'll be granted and treated to when you first get this out of the packaging is an Avengers Endgame Black Widow clear display stand. It's the same, in fact, display stand we've seen with many of the other instances of Egg Attack action figures. But in this case, we've got the Marvel Avengers Endgame along the top, and in this case as well, we've also got Black Widow featured on the front. The neck itself isn't adjustable, though the top section is. You've got Beast Kingdom running it around the full length, almost full length, of the clear neck. But this is the section here that actually adjusts. I guess in some ways you can rotate this left and right as well. But the main point of movement on this piece actually is this section right here. It hinges up and down. You can rotate, and you can also open and close the little pincers that will fit around her waist. Really, again, like these pieces in the sense that they do keep them consistent to one another. You can look at them all on the shelf, and if you are collecting, say, for example, the Avengers Endgame releases, all the Endgames will have all the same display stands, and I kind of like the consistency that goes along with that. Something else you may want to partake in reading through before you start getting into having a look at the Black Widow is you do get yourself an Avengers Endgame Black Widow user manual. It's just a two-sided sheet. One side is actually done in English, and then the other side is not. But the one side that you will probably likely be reading is the sections that show you how to move her articulation, how to adjust and display her with the various different accessories, all of which we'll look at in a second. How to move her hair, and how to change out her face plates. Yes, she does actually have more than one face portrait. Suppose we will have a look at her alternate head portrait in a second. Before we do that, let's have a look at some of the smaller accessory offerings coming included with this release of Black Widow. Her weapon of choice for Avengers Endgame is the Glock 26s, and as you can see, she does come with a pair of Glock 26s. They are small and molded in all black plastic, and they seem to be carbon copies to one another. Mirror copies would imply that they are the reversed image. They are most definitely, though, carbon copies to one another. They do fit into her hands. Though it seems specific the hands you may want to be choosing, the ones with a specific trigger finger might be the hands of choice. You can just fit that into her hand like so. It does take a little bit of finagling. There we go. I love using finagling whenever I get the chance. And it does fit, like I said, into her hand just like that. You can see there is the actual finger right on the trigger. I like the touch of that. But let's say if you want to display her with her electric batons, I probably will be going that route myself. There is another place where you can store her handguns. On the side, located on holsters on either side of her legs, there is these little small holstered sections in which you can actually take, let me just move that hand out of the way, you can take both of the Glocks and you just fit them in place like that. It's a nice finishing touch, of course, and again, if you are going to be displaying her with the batons, my preferred choice at least, there is at least a little place that you can store them that stay completely out of the way. So I like that. We were just finishing talking about the batons when we have a look at those right now. They kind of come in rather interesting pieces. You've got the main baton, though there's no electricity, nothing done other than the shiny black plastic utilized here, but they come in separate pieces in the sense that this is the top of the baton, and then you get handles. I'll show you those handles right now. they just attach. You kind of get three versions, or three ways, I suppose, to display the batons. You can attach the handle like so, and that attaches into her hand. Or, and let me just show you on both of them just so that you guys can see. You attach the handles like so into the batons, and she's got two working batons that she can work with. Or, you want to get rather interesting, you can pop this off, pop off the other handle as well. Just twist this off, there we go. And she also comes with this piece right here. And it looks different than the other two handles in the sense that it's got connector points on either side. You probably can see where this is going. Take one end of the handle, attach it to the handle of like so, and just attach the other section to the other baton, and you've instantly joined the two together. That's rather cool and clever the way that they've done that. The other place, the other way that you can display the batons, because I did mention there were three of them, is that if you take the handles, I'm just going to grab the figure for a second here, you can take the handles, and there's a section right at the top here, sort of located on her back. There's holes on either side, that side there, and that side there. You can take the handles of the batons and fit them into her back. These are telescopic batons, after all, so you can just attach them into place like so. Take the other side, attach it like so. The downside I've noticed, though, with having them here, whoops, and not dropping them in the process, is by putting them right here, as soon as you start twisting her hair, it's obviously going to start rubbing and bumping against those, and probably in the process of doing that will pop them off. So while you can, in a way, display them there, they don't display them in the sense that the hair is really always going to kind of be in the way. As soon as you start twisting ahead, like I said, those handles are probably going to pop right off. If you do want to display the batons in her hand, just get her to stand here for 1 second. It's probably best advised, take the handles off like so, and then whatever hand you decide to display her with, take the bottom handle, feed it through her hand first, and then take the top section of the baton and just connect the two. Meet in the middle, if you will. Just attach like so. There we go. And you can have her holding the baton like that. I, again, would prefer using this method of display rather than using her with, or displaying her certainly with the guns. But I mean, the guns, like I said, are on either side if you want to go that route. It's just nice that you do have the interchangeable options to work with. And we'll just go ahead and take the hand off. Well, I guess I did take the hand off. We'll take the handle off. There we go. And we'll just slide that back into place. And we'll pop the hand back into place. Now, I did mention as well, and you probably can still clearly see it, that she does come with an alternate head portrait. I haven't forgotten about those. Those we'll get to in a second. She does also come with a series of interchangeable hands. Like, there's a whole bunch of hands that she comes included with. We'll kind of do our best to look through those right now. She does have some gestured hands. I'm all about displaying figures with gestured hands, and she does come with a pair of those. There's another hand right there making up the pair of hands. She also has a hand for holding the pistol. And she also has a couple of closed fists, and she also even has more of a relaxed palm as well. I guess there's a total of, well, there's a total of 8 plus the 2, so you get yourself a total of 10 hands to work with. Then we get to the interesting part. A lot of these Beast Kingdom Egg Attack Action Released figures all generally come with some variation of how you can display the head. In this case, they've completely all out given you a brand new head portrait. I'm really liking this head portrait, showing you guys the difference between the two, holding it side to side. I don't know if it's just the fact lately I've been into the Frozen craze. My daughter's ecstatic to the idea of always watching Frozen, but it kind of reminds me a little bit about Elsa. The ponytail, and I suppose the face sculpt kind of reminds me a little bit like Elsa. I know I've got Frozen on the brain. But the difference in face portrait, you can see side to side, one has the mouth open. The eyes are about the same. The eyebrows, I would gauge, are about the same. One seems a little bit longer on the sides right here than on this one here. But other than that, it looks like it's just really the mouth that's open than anything else. The instructions indicate that you can take off the ponytail. I've tried my best to remove this, and it doesn't seem like it actually wants to go anywhere. And then when I kind of look at the ponytails anyways, if I look at the two side by side, there's not really a lot different between them anyways, that it doesn't really warrant the idea of trying to dismantle, remove, and take apart the face plates, simply just to change out the faces. If the head portraits are completely intact, the hair looks exactly the same, and there's nothing really different about it. I'm probably just more inclined to remove the head, because as I said, there's not... Unless last minute decision, they've decided at the, Let me just grab the manual to show you what I'm talking about. This makes things a lot easier if I just show you the manual. Right here, it clearly shows you that there is a section where you can remove the back of the hair, right? You can separate the face, right? And you can take that off. Again, the only thought process I have behind it is maybe at one point they had just included the front faceplate for Black Widow and then decided later it would just simply be a lot easier just to completely include a brand new head. Because as I've said, probably at nausea already, there doesn't seem to be a way that you can remove the head from the hair. You still get access to the joysticks inside that can, of course, move the eyes back and forth. There you go. There's one. She's looking right at you. And then again, you can just move that back and forth. You get still full access to it. Those smaller fingers would certainly be working in your favor, but you can still fully articulate the eyeballs. That sort of is the constant here with a lot of the egg attack action figures, is that you can change and move the eyes. So let's pop the head off. What I feel is a better looking head portrait myself. We'll just pop that off the very long ball joint. There it is right there. We'll just put the head down for a second and we'll replace it with what I feel is the better looking head portrait. One thing when you are moving it though, you just might want to move the hair out of the way. The hair is articulated, but sort of gets really caught up and hung up if you aren't too careful. We'll just go ahead and pop that back into place and you've got yourself this head portrait. Just in case you forgot what it looked like, that's what the other head portrait looked like. I kind of like this one over this one. Just my own personal preference. As for the rest of the figure, and again looking at the head sculpt here, excluding the fact that I think it looks a little bit like Elsa, she does have articulation in the hair. The hair isn't the most articulated, it just really runs on a peg. You can move the ponytail back and forth, but it doesn't really give you the whole amount of articulation that you would expect that to be. A nice rosy color to her cheeks. Really like the coloring of her eyes. A little bit of that reflection certainly goes a long way. And she's sort of got a reddish hairstyle, but still that carryover of blonde from Avengers Infinity War. Kind of like in the look of that. Really nice the way that they airbrush that from the lighter all the way down to the red. And you can see they transition that slightly from the one color to the other color there. As for her costume is an all fabric outfit. It sort of is kind of like a cotton bodysuit of sorts. You can see that there's a long zipper that runs from the very top of the outfit and runs all the way down. And meeting along the way is the Black Widow belt there. Some nice smaller patches of color. You almost miss it immediately. You get the panel lining done in a slightly lighter shade of black, or slightly a different type of black, and the fact that it's a little bit more of a sheen black versus the matte coloring of her costume. As I said, there is that little bit of red and that silver just located on the side, but primarily she is an all black costumed character with some hinted notes at straps on the side, and she's got the little gauntlets there located on her arms. I like the fact that these particular figures do come costume clad, and in other words, they're actually coming inside of costumes, instead of actually just making them all plastic. Costumes sort of makes you feel when you're picking these guys up that they're premium pieces. It's a kind of a nice feeling in a way to be able to move joints and stuff, for example, and knowing that it's underneath an actual real fabric costume. Moving further down, she's got her knee pads there that seem to be glued in place, so you just want to be a little bit careful of those, that you don't accidentally pull that off of the fabric. As we've already looked at, she does have the holsters on either side holding the Glocks, and then she's got some nice painted boots. An effect done by getting the black plastic and dry brushing some nice silver paint over that. You can probably also see that she has some articulation and toe articulation happening in the boots. Speaking of articulation, I don't feel like I've completely got the head in place. There we go. The head moves all the way around. It's essentially on a 2 ball joint system. You right see there's a ball joint there and a ball joint located on the top. It does give you some additional articulation in the sense that you can move the head a little bit more freer than you could with just a straight out single ball joint. The arms hinge outward, not quite at a 90-degree angle, just a little less than that. Still, despite for the fact that she does have fabric, you can move her arms forward and move her arms back. She has a swivel on the bicep, a double hinge on the elbow, and a swivel on the hand. She has an upper torso ball joint. She seems to have a lower waist swivel. Legs split out, not as generously as the arms. They move forward and back a little on the tighter side, swivel at the top part of the bicep, top part of the thigh. She has a double hinge on the knee, some articulation in the boot, ankle pivot back and forth, hinging up and down, and as mentioned, she does have that toe articulation. Personally, I was a bigger fan of Black Widow in Avengers Endgame. I like more the go back to all red. Red outfit or red-haired Black Widow is my preferred look for this character. Didn't really like the pale look that she went with, the all sort of whitish blonde in Avengers Infinity War. It's nice to get a egg attack action release of Black Widow, and they actually have released a whole bunch of Avengers Endgame Beast Kingdom egg attack action figures, all of which we'll be having a look at in some future reviews. Avengers Age of Ultron and Captain America the Winter Soldier are my two favorite looks for Black Widow in the feature films. I wasn't really digging the pale locks that she went with in Avengers Infinity War, so it was a nice pleasant surprise to see her back to her red roots for Avengers Endgame. Like with all the other Avengers releases in egg attack action form, Beast Kingdom step up to the plate once again and release a Black Widow in Avengers Endgame with more of the familiar red locks, and I'm liking the look of this figure. She does come with all the necessary accessories, of course clad in real costume fabric, which is another one of the selling points for the Beast Kingdom releases. She does come with an interchangeable faceplate. And that really is the one thing I mentioned earlier in this review. The instruction manual do tell you that you can change out the faceplate by just removing the back hairpiece and removing just the face. I guess maybe at one point they had planned on just one head with two interchangeable faceplates, but clearly, as you can see in this review, what we ended up getting was two completely standalone heads that you could just pop right off the ball joint and replace, depending on which look you want to go with instead. The hairs are identical to one another. The ponytail, that is identical to one another. There's nothing really different other than her faces and facial expressions, again leading me to believe that at last minute they probably just decided it was a lot easier just to change out the heads instead of trying to finagle and pop the hairpiece off, pull out the faceplate, and do all of that in repeat to put it all back to normal. She still has full access to the joysticks on her eyes, so you can move the eyes about, and one of the other cool selling points for the Beast Kingdom releases. These aren't going to be everybody's cup of tea, as I've mentioned in previous reviews. The egg attack action figures are super stylized figures with larger proportions generally in their head with a more squatter body. If that is your fancy and you kind of dig collectibles like this, you might be in the market for yourself to be picking up some of these egg attack action figures because they are really cool looking collectible pieces. Today we were having a look at the Beast Kingdom Black Widow Egg Attack action figure, which was product code EAA-082. A big thank you again to the folks over at Beast Kingdom for making this review possible. You should probably now be able to start seeing a lot of these popping up in comic book stores. So if you are interested in picking this one for yourself, check out your local comic book stores, and good luck with that. If you are a big fan of these egg attack action figures and you haven't had a chance to maybe go back and have a look at some of the other ones that I've covered on this channel, there's a playlist just for Beast Kingdom, so feel free to get a gander at those videos. If you are new to this channel, long-time viewer, maybe never got around to it, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification. Certainly keep your peepers peeled because there's going to be a whole bunch of other egg attack action reviews coming soon to this channel, so stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.